Hello, I'm Kelly from paperbeadrollers.com, and this is the Buco Beads rolling tutorial. Buco beads are a three-dimensional paper bead with cutout shapes and a second color showing through the cutouts. You can make them in multiple widths and diameters to match any project your creative mind can think of. Now, if this is your first time visiting and you'd like to see other paper bead techniques and jewelry making tutorials, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Now let's get started and learn how to roll Buco beads. There are two ways to make Buco beads. If you have any computerized cutting machine on the market that can read SVG files, such as the Cricut or Brothers Scan and Cut, you can purchase digital cutting files from paperbeadrollers.com so that you can cut the patterns from any paper you like. Or you can purchase pre-cut paper kits that come to you ready to roll. The beads are made up of two parts. The core of the bead is a simple rectangular strip that makes a tube bead. The second strip has the pattern cut into it and covers the core so that the core color shows through the cutouts. There are several different patterns and sizes included in your purchase, and with all of the different paper choices, your bead designs are just about unlimited. Let's look at some of the options. This is the 1-inch abstract flower pattern cut from a white linen texture cardstock. I'm going to pair it with a core strip that's cut from a pink ombre glitter sheet. Now this is a Die Cuts That Matter, and I like their brand because it's not really glitter that flakes off, it's a textured paper that looks like glitter and it's easy to work with. I'll put a link in the description for you. This is the medium size of the abstract flower pattern, which is a 3/4 inch wide. It's cut from a gold textured cardstock, and I'm going to put a silver behind it. Now this isn't exactly a shiny, it's more of a satin sheen. There's also a 1/2 inch size in this abstract flower pattern. Here's what I call the fancy lattice pattern, cut from the same silver satin cardstock. And I'll put a white cardstock behind it for a pretty elegant look. This pattern comes in 1.5, 1 inch, and 3/4 inch sizes, and this one is the largest. Here's the 1 inch size, cut from two different papers. I'll put some gold glitter behind this one. I think this would look great for like wedding jewelry or some kind of wedding decorations. And let's put some plain cardstock with color behind this gold. How about this stone blue? That's nice, and it's still elegant, but it's got a little color. Now here's the cat theme strip. Now this is a 1/2 inch size, and it also comes in 3/4 and 1 inch sizes with slightly different patterns. This is cut from a plain 65-pound cardstock, and I'm going to bling it up a little with some gold glitter paper behind it. Here's a dog pattern strip cut from that same cardstock, but I'll put a pop of color behind it with this dark coral 65-pound. Super pretty! And speaking of a pop of color, here's some lime green behind the textured gold cardstock in the daisy pattern. I tend to lean toward the elegant looks with these, but they really work great with funky or kids looks too. I mean, check this out. If you pair a lime green Buco strip with a glitter core strip, and it just get this cute, funky kind of kid look. Now I'll show you how to roll these beads. There is a trick to lining up the pattern so that they look nice. For the Buco strips that have repeating patterns like the daisy, fancy lattice, and the abstract flower, you can line up the pattern exactly. There's no exact science to it because there are so many variables. It's going to depend on the weight of your paper and the diameter of the roller you use, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I choose the diameter of roller that I'd like to use, and I start rolling my core strip. I'm going to use the yellow roller from paperbeadrollers.com, which is one of the larger ones that we sell. Now I'll take the Buco strip and roll it into the core strip. See how my pattern isn't quite lining up there? I need to make my core just a little bit thicker. And that is just about perfect. Now I'll cut them both right about here. I'll finish off the core piece and glue it down tight. Now that the core piece is ready, I'll lightly cover my entire Buco strip in white glue. I use a skewer or a toothpick for this because it allows me to spread the glue nice and thin. I put the edge in place on the core bead and I let it sit for a minute to get tacky. We might need to put a little bit of pressure on this Buco strip as we roll it around the core. If you don't let the glue get tacky, the Buco strip might slide around as you pull on it and it'll get difficult and may even rip. So we need to wait for that to dry before we start pulling on it. When your glue is tacky enough, go ahead and roll your Buco strip around. And then we can cut off any excess strip that's there. Now you may have to finagle things a little bit to get an exact match, but if you can get the pattern lined up exactly, you won't have a bad side to your bead where things are mismatched. It'll be perfect all the way around. I just love this paper combination. I think it makes a perfect wedding bead. And that is how you roll Buco beads. Now, I'm going to show you something to watch out for when you're glazing them. I prefer to use the Judikins Diamond Glaze for glazing paper beads. I just squeeze a tiny bit into my dish and brush it on. Now here's the catch when glazing Buco beads. If you put the glaze on too thick, it will pool inside of the cutouts and make weird dips and filled in spots. So, you may need to brush it on extra thin and do one more coat than normal. For example, I normally do 2 coats. On Buco beads, I'll do 3 extra thin coats. And I always double check them to make sure there aren't any drops or runs or pooled areas. So while this bead dries, I'll take just a minute and remind you that if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button below. I'm getting ready to post some tutorials using Buco beads, including the one with this gorgeous necklace that I'm wearing right now. And I'm always creating new styles of Buco beads to put up on paperbeadrollers.com. So after you subscribe, click that bell button and you'll get notified anytime a new video goes up so you don't miss anything new. See you next time!